Hello, my friends. I am very happy you are here today. Imagine a quiet night many years ago. A tall young boy sits beside a small fire. The room is cold. The light is dim. In his hands is a borrowed book. The pages are old and worn. He reads slowly and carefully. Outside, the wind moves through the trees. Everyone else is asleep, but the boy keeps reading. He wants to understand life. He wants to understand people. He dreams of becoming someone important, even though he was born poor. That young boy would one day become one of the most famous presidents in American history. Today we will listen to the story of Abraham Lincoln. Take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy this peaceful English learning journey with me. Abraham Lincoln. Early life. Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809. He was born in Kentucky. Kentucky is a state in America. His family lived in a tiny log cabin. A log cabin is a small house made from wood. The cabin had only one room. Life there was simple and difficult. Abraham's family was very poor. His father worked as a farmer. His mother was gentle and caring. Abraham had an older sister named Sarah. The family worked hard every single day. They did not have much food. They did not have much money. Sometimes life felt uncertain. Even when Abraham was very young, he had to help his family. He carried water from outside. He fed animals. He chopped wood for the fire. The work was tiring, but Abraham became strong from working on the farm. Abraham loved his mother deeply. Her name was Nancy. Nancy often spoke kindly to Abraham. She told him stories. She taught him to be honest. She taught him to treat people with kindness and respect. Abraham listened carefully to his mother's words. He remembered her lessons for the rest of his life. Nancy wanted Abraham to learn. She wanted him to read books and grow wise. But learning was not easy. There were almost no schools nearby. Books were very rare. This made education difficult for young Abraham. When Abraham was 7 years old, his family moved away from Kentucky. They moved to Indiana. Indiana is another American state. His father hoped to find better farming land there. The journey was long and exhausting. The family traveled through forests and crossed rivers. Finally, they arrived at their new home. Once again, Abraham's father built a log cabin. The family began a new life in Indiana. But sadness soon entered Abraham's life. 2 years later, his mother became very ill. She suffered from milk sickness. At that time, there was no medicine to save her. Abraham watched helplessly as his mother grew weaker each day. He felt frightened and heartbroken. In 1818, Nancy died. Abraham was only 9 years old. He missed his mother terribly. Her death left a deep sadness inside him. For many years, Abraham carried this pain in his heart. Learning and early challenges after Nancy died, life became even more difficult for the family. Abraham's father needed help caring for the children. 1 year later, he married again. His new wife was named Sarah Bush Johnston. Sarah was a widow with 3 children of her own. Now Abraham had a stepmother and new stepbrothers and sisters. At first, Abraham felt unsure about everything. But Sarah soon showed him great love and care. She treated Abraham like her own son. She saw something special in him. She noticed how much he loved reading and learning. Sarah brought books into the home. She encouraged Abraham to study. She made sure he had time to learn. Abraham loved and respected his stepmother very much. She changed his future in many ways. Abraham sometimes attended school, but the schools were very simple. They were called blab schools. Students repeated lessons aloud together inside the classroom. Abraham only attended school for a short time. Some people believe he received less than 1 full year of education. But Abraham never stopped learning. He taught himself. He borrowed books from neighbors. Sometimes he walked many miles just to borrow a single book. Then he read every page carefully. Abraham loved reading history books.
He enjoyed learning about law.
He read the Bible many times. He studied the life of George Washington. He also read books about mathematics. Each book opened a new world for him. Abraham read slowly and thoughtfully. He wanted to understand every idea deeply. Sometimes he practiced writing on wooden boards. Sometimes he wrote on the ground using sticks. Paper cost too much money. Abraham also became known for his stories. He loved sharing funny tales with friends and family. People enjoyed listening to him. He could make people laugh. He could also make them think carefully. Slowly, Abraham discovered the power of words. Words could comfort people. Words could inspire change. Words could help people understand new ideas. This lesson would become very important later in his life. As Abraham grew older, he became very tall. He stood more than 6 feet tall, which was unusual during that time. He was also thin and awkward-looking. Years of farm work made him strong, but some people laughed at his appearance. Sometimes this hurt Abraham's feelings. But over time, he learned humility. He learned not to judge people by how they looked. He believed character mattered far more than appearance. As a young man, Abraham worked many different jobs. He split logs to build fences. He helped build flatboats for river travel. One day, he traveled down the Mississippi River on a flatboat. During the trip, he visited New Orleans. There, Abraham witnessed something that deeply shocked him. He saw enslaved people being bought and sold. Slaves were forced to work without freedom. They were treated like property instead of human beings. The sight filled Abraham with sadness and anger. He never forgot what he saw. Deep inside, he believed slavery was wrong. Law, politics, and family life. When Abraham was 22 years old, his family moved once again. This time they moved to Illinois. Illinois became Abraham's permanent home. As Abraham grew older, he began thinking seriously about his future. He did not want to remain a farmer forever. He wanted to use his mind. He wanted to help others. Soon Abraham decided to study law. Law is the system of rules that guides a country. Lawyers help people solve legal problems. Abraham had no money for school, so he continued teaching himself. He borrowed law books and studied every day. He asked questions to experienced lawyers. He worked harder and harder. After years of study, Abraham finally became a lawyer. He passed his examinations and began working in courts. People trusted Abraham because he was honest and fair. He worked in Springfield, Illinois. Springfield was the state capital. Slowly, Abraham built a strong reputation. A reputation is the way people think about someone. People believed Abraham was truthful. They believed he cared deeply about justice. These qualities made him successful. Before long, Abraham also became interested in politics. Politics involves government and public leadership. Abraham believed he could improve life for ordinary people, so he decided to run for office. He wanted to become a representative. A representative speaks on behalf of the people. Abraham traveled and gave speeches. He explained his ideas clearly and simply. People liked listening to him. They admired his honesty and calm way of speaking. In 1834, Abraham was elected to the Illinois state legislature. He was only 25 years old. Around this time, Abraham met a woman named Mary Todd. Mary came from a wealthy and educated family. She enjoyed discussing politics and ideas. Abraham and Mary spent many hours talking together. Soon they fell in love. But their relationship was sometimes difficult. Their families and backgrounds were very different. At first, Mary's family did not fully approve of Abraham. For a short time, Abraham and Mary even separated. But eventually, love brought them back together. In 1842, they were married. They created a home together in Springfield. Abraham and Mary had 4 sons. Their names were Robert, Edward, William, and Thomas. Abraham loved spending time with his children.
He played games with them.
He told them stories. He was a caring and gentle father. But sadness visited the family again. Edward died when he was only 3 years old. Years later, William died at age 11. These tragedies deeply hurt Abraham and Mary. Still, they continued forward together. Abraham continued serving in politics. For 1 term, he served in the United States Congress. Congress is part of America's national government. Abraham spoke openly against slavery. He believed slavery was morally wrong. He believed freedom belonged to all people. But many Americans disagreed. In the southern states, slavery played a major role in the economy. Large farms called plantations depended on enslaved workers. The country was becoming divided. In 1858, Abraham ran for the United States Senate. He competed against a famous politician named Stephen Douglas. Douglas was powerful and well-known. The two men held 7 public debates. A debate is a formal discussion where people defend different ideas. Crowds gathered to hear the debates. Abraham spoke strongly against slavery. He argued that slavery should not spread into new states. Douglas disagreed with him. Although Abraham lost the election, the debates made him famous across America. People remembered his powerful words and strong principles. Abraham Lincoln presidency and Civil War in 1860, something incredible happened. Abraham Lincoln was chosen to run for president of the United States. Becoming president was a huge honor, but it also brought enormous challenges. The country was deeply divided over slavery. Many southern states warned they would leave the Union if Abraham became president. The Union means the United States joined together as one nation. The situation was dangerous. During his campaign, Abraham spoke with dignity and calmness. He spoke about unity. He spoke about equality and freedom. He reminded Americans that all people are created equal. This belief was very important to him. On November 6, 1860, Abraham Lincoln won the election. He was now president. A poor boy from a log cabin had reached the highest office in America. But the celebration did not last long. Before Abraham officially became president, several southern states left the Union. They formed their own government called the Confederate States. They wanted slavery to continue. This division led to the American Civil War. A civil war happens when people from the same country fight against one another. It is one of the saddest kinds of war. Families were divided. Friends became enemies. The nation suffered greatly. Abraham became president in March 1861. Only 1 month later, the war officially began. Abraham faced impossible decisions every day. The war lasted for terrible years. More than 600,000 soldiers died. Abraham carried the pain of the nation on his shoulders. He often looked tired and worried. Many nights he could not sleep, but he refused to surrender. He believed the Union must survive. He believed freedom must survive too. In 1863, Abraham made one of the most important decisions of his life. He announced the Emancipation Proclamation. This historic document declared freedom for slaves living in Confederate states. It changed the meaning of the war. The war was no longer only about saving the Union. It also became a fight for human freedom and dignity. Although slavery did not end immediately, the proclamation was a huge step forward. It showed the world what Abraham believed in. Later that same year, Abraham gave one of the most famous speeches in history. The speech took place in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Thousands of soldiers had died there in battle. Abraham spoke for only a few minutes. Yet his words touched millions of hearts. He spoke about democracy and equality. He said the nation needed a new birth of freedom. Today, people still remember these words as the Gettysburg Address. Finally, in April 1865, the Civil War ended. The Union had won. The country would remain together. Soon afterward, the 13th Amendment ended slavery permanently in the United States. Abraham had guided the nation through its darkest time. He had helped millions move closer to freedom. By then, Abraham looked much older and weaker. Years of stress had changed him deeply. Still, he dreamed about healing the country. He wanted peace between the North and South. But tragedy arrived once again. On April 14, 1865, Abraham and Mary attended a play at a theater in Washington, D.C. During the performance, a man named John Wilkes Booth entered Abraham's private box. Booth supported the Confederacy and was angry about the South's defeat. He shot Abraham Lincoln. Doctors tried desperately to save him. But Abraham died the next morning. He was 56 years old. The nation was filled with grief. People cried across the country. They had lost the man who helped save the Union and end slavery. Final years and legacy. Abraham Lincoln's story remains one of the most inspiring stories in history. He was born into poverty. He had little formal education. Life was often painful and difficult for him, but he never stopped learning. He never stopped trying to become better. He believed deeply in honesty, hard work, justice, and human dignity. These values guided every part of his life. Abraham experienced many heartbreaking losses. He lost his mother as a child. He lost 2 sons. He carried the burden of war and suffering for an entire nation. Yet he never became cruel or bitter. He stayed focused on what was right. This is why Abraham Lincoln is remembered as one of America's greatest presidents. He proved that humble beginnings do not decide a person's future. He showed the world that courage, kindness, and character matter more than wealth or power. His story teaches us to continue learning, to remain honest, and to stand up for justice even during difficult times. These lessons are still important today. They will always matter. When we listen to stories like Abraham Lincoln's story, we learn more than history. We learn about hope.
We learn about courage.
We learn that positive change is always possible. And while listening in English, we are also improving ourselves. We are learning a new language and opening new doors in life. Every story helps us grow. Every story makes us stronger. Thank you for listening today, my friends. I hope Abraham Lincoln's story touched your heart and inspired you to continue learning. If you enjoyed this peaceful story, please consider subscribing. Your support helps us create more meaningful stories for English learners around the world. You can also leave a comment below and share what inspired you most about Abraham Lincoln's life. And if this story helped you, please press the like button. Your kindness means so much to us. Remember, learning English is a journey. It takes patience. It takes practice. But every story you hear helps you grow stronger and more confident. Keep listening. Keep learning. Keep believing in yourself. Just like Abraham Lincoln, you can achieve amazing things. Until our next story, take care of yourself, stay kind to others, and keep moving forward on your learning journey. I will see you again very soon with another peaceful story. Goodbye for now, my friends.